This meeting of the May 10th meeting of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners to order. And at this time, I'd like to ask if invocation by Commissioner Greg Lawrence and the Pledge of Allegiance will be by Chief Deputy Mark Elrod. Would everyone please stand?
Good evening, Commissioners. It's great to be with you tonight. We're going to do something a little different before we have our invocation. This past year has been a year like no other in America. We've seen some very disturbing scenes in America with riots and destruction of property in America. And even more disturbing, we've had public officials in different parts of America openly denigrating law enforcement officers and calling for the defunding of law enforcement. A recent survey showed that we happen to live in one of the safest communities in America. And the reason for that is in large part to a group of men and women who get up every day and they come to work not knowing whether they're going to have to risk their lives for us to protect the lives and property of the people of this community or not, but they do it anyway. And we have tonight with us some very special guests. We have Chief Faulkner from the City of Franklin. We have Chief Parker from the City of Nolensville, Chief Hughes from the City of Brentwood, and we of course have, as always, Sheriff Rhodes, Williamson County Sheriff, with us tonight. And I would just like to say to all of you, as you see all of these commissioners standing here, I know I can speak for each one of them when I say we stand with you. And I want to read a proclamation tonight in your honor. Whereas a law enforcement officer is a government employee who is responsible for the prevention, investigation, apprehension, or detention of individuals suspected or convicted of offenses against criminal laws, and whereas characteristics of a good law enforcement officer include communication skills, compassion and empathy, integrity, negotiation skills, eagerness to learn, and mental agility, and whereas Williamson County Sheriff's Office is comprised of approximately 395 professional men and women who work daily on behalf of our citizenry to serve and protect the safety of us all. And whereas additionally the municipalities of Fairview, Franklin, Brentwood, Nolensville, Thompson Station, and Spring Hill each employ a group of law enforcement officers who are equally committed to serving their residents. And whereas the Williamson County Board of Commissioners wishes to acknowledge the numerous law enforcement professionals throughout our county who are guided by the principles of justice, have the highest ethical standards, and demand accountability, consistency, fairness, and honesty in the performance of their duties. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Williamson County meeting in regular session this 10th day of May 2021, we do hereby extend our sincere appreciation to the Williamson County Sheriff's Office and the various municipal law enforcement officers in Williamson County and encourage each of them to continue to exude the mental and moral strength to enforce our laws. Now I want to pray a special prayer of blessing. God, we are thankful that we live in a country whose founding documents begin with these words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and they are endowed with by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it is understood in that document that in order for those rights to be enforced, there must be a system of laws and there must be people who enforce those laws. And so tonight, we thank you for Chief Faulkner from the City of Franklin, Chief Parker from the City of Nolensville, Chief Hughes from the City of Brentwood, and for Sheriff Rhodes. And we pray that you would give them great wisdom and skill and tact as they go about protecting the lives and property of the people and all of their deputies and officers that work with them. We are thankful that we live in one of the most peaceful communities in the world, and we want to recognize that it is in large part because we have some of the finest law enforcement units anywhere in the world. And we know their job can be dangerous, so we pray your protection over them. We pray that you would deliver them from evil, and we pray for the people of our community and our nation, that we would be filled with a sense of righteousness and that we would want to follow the law and show the proper respect for these men and women who risk their lives to protect our freedoms each day. God, may you bless Williamson County, and may you bless America. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're ready for roll call? If you are, mark your present button if you are here. All right. Call the roll, please. Okay. Okay, so. All right, so we have
19 present, 5 absent.
5 absent. Okay, that's all right. All right, we do have, all right, yes. All right, so it's just trying, okay, we have, I have heard from both Commissioner Jones. One got called out of town on business. The other one is AD, and they're hosting 3 separate district tournaments at Fairview, so he could not be here tonight. Have also heard from Commissioner Hudson had an emergency and had to leave, and then Commissioner Albrooks could not be here. So with that, we have the roll is called. At this time, I would like to, we'd have the approval of the minutes, and if you're ready, we're voting before we get motions?
You better keep up.
Okay. Well, I mean, there was no motions and second marked on there that I saw, so. The motion by, minutes approved by Commissioner Lothers, the second by Commissioner Sturgeon. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All right, anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
19 yes, 0 no.
All right, the minutes are approved. At this time, we have citizens' communications. And we have one person has signed up, 3-minute time limit. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time since we have been here and done this, so.
Should have the rules behind it.
We have 30 minutes set aside for citizens' comments, and you have a 3-minute time limit per person, and we've had one sign up, and that is, please, when you step up, state your name and your address for the record, and it's Jim Hageman, the new mayor of Spring Hill, I believe.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much
Welcome.
for having me. My name is Jim Hageman. My address is 1919 Kent Lane, Spring Hill, Tennessee. And first of all, I want to say thank you guys and ladies and very much for your service to being civil servants. I join you as the mayor of Spring Hill. I'm standing here before you because I've been in office for less than a month now, and prior to my taking the reins, my previous board of mayor and aldermen, they had the Williamson County Schools had a proposal for them and for the board of mayor and aldermen, and they denied the proposal. And so I'm here to talk to the Williamson County Schools and to anybody who has possibly, to address specifically resolution agenda item number 3 on the list of other, and it's resolution specifically 5-21-7. I'm asking you guys to not go ahead and go forth with that resolution because I'm here to say that Spring Hill loves Williamson County Schools, and we absolutely welcome their development proposed on the Wilkes Lane area. And so I just ask that you don't, that resolution is not needed because Spring Hill will grant Williamson County Schools what they need to have to build that school. Thank you. Oh, and also, I wrote this in a letter as well, and this is a letter for every single commissioner who's up here. And so I don't know, I'm not certain how to disseminate these, so if there's a clerk or a staff person that could do that, that would be great. Thank you, sir. So that's my piece. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. If there are, if there are no objections at this time, I would like to move up the election for the replacement for Commissioner Robbie Beal at this time so that she can get in place for all the business of the night. Are there any objections to moving that up on the agenda? Seeing none, at this time, we'd like to swear in our, need a, are we having, all right, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? All right, we have a nomination for, okay, we have a recommendation for Megan Guffey to fill that position. We are now open for nomination. We have a nomination and a second. Commissioner, well, I got Commissioner Beathard with the motion, Commissioner Landrum with the second. This is the person that Commissioner Landrum is recommending for the position. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, assume you're ready to vote. David, would you like to say anything?
I would,
All right, go ahead first before we vote.
if I'm on. Appreciate everybody that showed an interest in the position. I supported Megan Guffey in nominating her to be our county commissioner. One thing I saw was strong heart to serve. She really demonstrated that from the very first time I met her. She really wants to serve our community. She has in a lot of ways, but the commission really worked for her. And number 2 is the energy she brought. We all need a little energy here every now and then, and she brought that energy with us. She believes in everything we do, Williamson County being such a great community. She's been here since she was 4 years old, if I can tell that story, and just proud to have her on board. And I'd really appreciate your vote for Megan, and I think she'll make a great addition to our community as well as the commission.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? All right, Steve.
You may not know, but Megan is my oldest child, our daughter, and I hope you won't hold that fact against her. I totally support her and hope you will too. As David said, she loves Williamson County, has a heart for service. She's smart, dependable, and committed to serving her district in the county. Obviously, I would gladly vote for her, but I've decided it may be more appropriate to abstain. So, but I ask for your support.
Is there anyone else wish to speak? All right, if you're seeing none, press your yes button, opposed your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
Need my magnifying glasses. 18 yes, and no abstain, and
One-
one.
18 yes and 0 no, 1 abstain. So welcome, Megan. At this, yeah. If you'd like to come up to the podium, and we will get you sworn in and let you say a few words if you'd like to. If your family would like to come up with you, they're welcome to. And Miss Elaine, if you would do the swearing in, we would appreciate it.
Be glad to.
And while they're coming up, I want to make a statement Commissioner Robbie Beal has served our community for a long time. He was a juvenile referee for several years, then he was a judge, and then a county commissioner, and so we appreciate his many years of service to the county. We wish him well. Yeah, he's still working up here, but we do want to wish him well in his endeavors and thank him for his many years of service. Yes.
Everybody ready?
Hang
Are
on
you nervous?
hang on just a second.
Don't be nervous.
Elaine, real quick. I really wanted to give I was going to do it afterwards. Thank you, Tommy. I've enjoyed sitting next to Robbie Bill, campaigning with him. We've got some real Ring doorbell things we need to tell. We didn't know what a Ring doorbell was when we campaigned the last time. So if we did anything incorrectly, let us know. But Brian and I, we kind of shared him over here, and Robbie will sorely be missed. We're great to have Megan on board, but I did want to shout out to Robbie, how much I enjoyed him being here. And I'm getting a little nervous here. We had Matt here, then I had Robbie here, now I got Megan here. I think there may be a denominator here, so. Anyway, thank you, Ms. Tunnicliffe, Commissioner. Anyway, I did want to shout out to Robbie, how much we did appreciate him. We're going to miss him, and now we're glad to have Megan. I'm through.
Okay, Megan, here we go, hon. When I say I, then you repeat your name, hon.
I,
You last
Megan
name. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will perform
that I will perform
with fidelity
with fidelity
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I have been elected
to which I have been elected
and which I am about to assume.
and which I am about to assume.
I do solemnly swear to support
I do solemnly swear to support
the Constitution of Tennessee
the Constitution of Tennessee
and the United States,
and the United States,
and to faithfully perform the duties
and to faithfully perform the duties
of the office
of the office
of County Commissioner
of County Commissioner
representing what district?
representing the 10th district
Of Williamson County,
of Williamson County,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
That's it.
That's it. I do.
I need your signature here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Here.
And we welcome you.
Thank you.
And you'll put the fourth, is it the fourth district or what district?
10th.
10th district, okay.
There we go.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations to Steve. And now she's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, she saw it.
Oh, Meg.
Well, we got the other proclamations.
That's a rookie thing.
So Todd, all right, so he said to get Todd to do it, but so you want to wait for him to get here. Okay. All right. We have one correction to our agenda that we need to make tonight. It was the resolution of 5-21-25 was in the packet, but it was left off the agenda. And so we will include it under our other business. But it was in the packet, it was just inadvertently left off the agenda. And at this time, I think we have another proclamation by Commissioner Tunnicliffe.
The school system was able to do some COVID vaccines through the state, and we're much appreciative of that. In order to do that, the school system needed to have a medical doctor to sign off. We were lucky enough to have Dr. Jeff Whitfield volunteer to be the gentleman to sign off and make sure everything was done the way it was supposed to be done to meet the state requirements. So this proclamation is an appreciation of Dr. Whitfield. Whereas Williamson County Schools, WCS, is one of 2 public school districts located in Williamson County, Tennessee, serving 40,000 students and employing 7,500 full or part-time staff. And whereas the Williamson County Board of Education strategic commitment is we will invest in team, quality, and excellence. And whereas Dr. Jeff D. Whitfield volunteered to serve as the attending physician to enable Williamson County Schools to operate a COVID-19 vaccination clinic for Williamson County Schools employees during the COVID-19 global pandemic. And whereas Tennessee native Dr. Whitfield graduated from Lipscomb University with a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry and was valedictorian of his graduating class. He then attended the University of Tennessee School of Medicine in Memphis, where he completed his surgical internship, general surgery residency, and 3-year urology residency. And whereas Dr. Whitfield selflessly gave of his time, knowledge, and support to oversee the Williamson County Schools COVID-19 vaccination clinic, where 2,500 doses of the vaccine were administered for WCS teachers and staff during the months of March and April. 5,000 or 2,500? Times 2. So really 5,000, but 2,500 twice. Whereas during this challenging time of the COVID-19 global pandemic, Williamson County has numerous individuals who have dedicated their time and talents to assist Williamson County schools in keeping the public's health a priority. Now, further be it resolved that I, Rogers Anderson, as mayor of Williamson County, do hereby express my appreciation to Dr. Jeff Whitfield for his compassionate and dedicated service to the staff of Williamson County School System. It is signed by myself, Tom Tunnicliffe, County Commissioner, Tommy Little, Commissioner Chair, and Roger C. Anderson, County Mayor. Dr. Whitfield would like to say a few things.
Thank you.
Just very quickly, I'm a little embarrassed at the introduction and the proclamation, because basically what I did was sign a couple of papers, talked on the phone to one person, and handed Kit Kats out at the vaccine clinic. But I'm going to tell you, I'll be forever grateful to have been a part of this. My daughter-in-law, Sarah Whitfield, I guess would be the COVID coordinator for the school system. And when she called to ask me if I knew anybody that could be the medical director, I don't think she really has ever realized that I'm a doctor, and I understand that. But I'm telling you, it was actually one of the highlights of my life. I have such respect for the Williamson County school system, for the Williamson County nurses. I don't know if y'all know what they do. I could not do what those people do every day. I didn't realize all the special needs, just taking care of the insulin patients is unbelievable to me, much less all the psychological evaluations that have to be ongoing for the parents. And I mean, it's unreal to me what they do. And so I will be forever grateful to be a part of this from that standpoint alone. But it doesn't stop there. I don't know if y'all know how smoothly that clinic went. It had nothing to do with me. It had to do with Sarah and a whole team of people that literally killed themselves day after day after day after day to make it smooth. There was one night when the tornadoes came through, we couldn't have the vaccine clinic. So instead of doing 500 the next night, we just did 1,000. Now that's with 12 nurses giving shots. And remember, I'm drawing up vaccine, giving out Kit Kats. That's all I'm doing. They're coordinating everything. And literally, in the first couple hours, we'd given, 450, 500 shots. It's unbelievable. It was the best coordinated program. I've given a lot of vaccines. I've been involved in several clinics. It was unreal to me. The camaraderie you have with your teachers, the camaraderie you have with your administrative staff. Jason was there every single night giving out candy and congratulating those teachers. I'm telling you, it did something for me. It really affected me. I did not realize how dedicated the people
of this county are to my grandchildren. I don't mean to be emotional, but it's a big deal. And so I just want to say thank you for y'all making education a priority so that my kids can go to school, so that they can grow up to be the people they were designed to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. We're going to deviate on our agenda a little bit again. Rogers is on his way, and the next certificate he wants to present. So at this time, I'm going to ask Jason if he will go ahead and go to his report as we stall for time for Rogers to get here. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think I need to say anything else after Dr. Whitfield, but I can't help it. I do want to tell you that we're right near the end of our school year, and I am so proud of our teachers and staff and students and parents and what we've been through this year. And I mentioned a couple of examples to the Budget Committee, if I'm not mistaken, that Mayor Anderson asked that I speak to. And I want to give you all just some quick examples of where we've been this year at Williamson County Schools. Of course, Dr. Whitfield gave you that detail of the amazing camaraderie we have, and I loved hearing that because that's what we experience every day with our faculty and staff and serving our students. This year, we had another National Blue Ribbon School, Lipscomb Elementary. We have another one that's nominated for next year. I can't share that name, but we have another nominee. Pretty incredible. This year, we had 51 National Merit Scholars. That's the third straight year we've had over 50 in Williamson County Schools. This year, we had 41 perfect ACT scores. That's the highest ever in Williamson County Schools. And I've said this a couple of times. We've joked, or maybe it's just been me, that if the ACT only tested Williamson County Schools, they'd have to renorm the test. I am so proud of our students. This year, we had 87 all-state band, choir, orchestra, and theater students. 87 all-state in the arts. Pretty incredible. So far this year, we've had 8 state championships in athletics. Last year, we had 7. Spring sports are going on right now. You heard that Commissioner Jones is actually at 3 district tournaments right now on Fairview's campus. I am so proud of where we've been. Another really interesting announcement, U.S. News and World Report released their high school rankings. 385 high schools in Tennessee were ranked. Williamson County Schools had 4 in the top 10. All 4 of those were the only ones in the top 10 that are comprehensive high schools available to all that didn't have some kind of an application requirement. The only 4 comprehensive high schools in the top 10 in Tennessee. We had 4 more in the top 20 for a total of 8 of our high schools in the top 20. All of our high schools are in the top 17% in the state of Tennessee. Pretty incredible. We were able to do this in part because we set a goal at the very beginning of this year that we were going to be on campus if we could safely do so. We have peers that we benchmark ourselves off of. High-performing school districts in metro areas, from Phoenix to Chicago to Atlanta. We've compared ourselves to them. No one has drilled down as carefully as we have on a daily basis to find ways to keep our students on campus. And because of that, I'm convinced, with our safety protocols, we've been able to achieve what we've achieved this year. Y'all, it has not been easy. It has not been easy, but it has been worth it. I'm so proud of them. And you know what I traditionally do? Well, maybe we don't remember, it's been so long. I traditionally give you numbers, right? School numbers. So right now, we are 739 students over where we were just back in October. And the total number for Williamson County Schools right now is 40,663. So we continue to grow. You all know that every public school system in the state had a reduction at the beginning of this school year, largely because of COVID, for various reasons, whether it was a reaction to the risk or a concern over the safety protocols that were in place or the method of how instruction was going to be provided that year. But again, just since October, we've had 739 more students. We brought you a conservative budget that you'll be looking at in a couple of months. We have a couple of items on your agenda tonight. And I just want to thank you for your leadership in finding ways to support the schools all these decades. Thank you.
Are there any questions of Jason? Yeah, well, it's good to give a round of applause for those numbers. Do we have any questions? Yes. Commissioner Mason?
Good evening, Mr. Golden.
Is your button?
All right, come on now. Oh, well, that I can do.
Commissioner, I can repeat your question if we need to.
You know, all right, there we go.
There we go.
All right, you know what I'm going to ask. So when we were here in March, we voted to defer the resolution regarding the proposed building site in Spring Hill off of Wilkes Lane for a school. And part of that deferral was to kind of give a little more time to see if some issues could be worked out. And I was curious if you'd had a chance to meet with the new Spring Hill mayor, if you'd had a chance to meet with the interim city planner and to discuss some of those issues. One of the biggest concerns was the amount of traffic that may be on Wilkes Lane, the infrastructure, and also the concern that the school was buying property that was also kind of piggybacked onto a developer in order to get homes. So the zoning changed from agricultural to residential. Have those concerns been addressed to your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am. And you all heard Mayor Hageman come and say that Spring Hill will approve our proposal during public comment. We have met with the mayor and the interim staff there, and I'm trying to remember her title to be sure. But short answer is yes. Give you a couple of examples. Those of you who are familiar with the way we construct elementary schools, we make sure that there's a lot of stacking so that cars can come in for car pickup. That was a critical piece that they wanted to be sure of. And in our conversations, they confirmed that's the case. And from a traffic standpoint, we build when growth comes. And in my experience, every time a new school comes, it really reduces the drive time for families because they're closer. We were very thoughtful and deliberate in where we chose to make an offer to this farm owner because of location. Our hope is when we structure a rezoning that we will be able to at least slow traffic from getting onto Highway 31 with fewer cars crossing Highway 31 because of the structure. And then, Commissioner, I think the last question you asked was, well, I've lost it now, the last piece.
About any type of infrastructure needed?
Thank you, infrastructure. We did talk about that. We are going to build our own drives. From our understanding, the water and sewer has capacity, and the one I was trying to recall was actually the piggyback question. We are not working with any developer. Our offer is to purchase 23 acres from a farm that's a little over 100. We did see some developers take our footprint and overlay it on proposals they might have, but that is not us. We build, and then it's up to the cities to determine where and to what extent growth occurs around it.
Do you feel that, based on your conversations with Spring Hill, that there are lingering concerns from their perspective, or do you feel like at this point they've at least all been addressed and are kind of out on the table?
I believe they've all been addressed, and I especially, again, appreciate Mayor Hageman coming and stating that they will approve it. So I'm focused on that phrase. I appreciate his succinctness.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. And I see our mayor has arrived, so at this time we'll call on the mayor for his report and I guess there's certificate presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good to see everyone here. I had to swear in the new commissioners for Brentwood, and for you that are following that, the mayor will be Ray Little again, and the vice mayor will be Mark Gorman. Do you have the proclamation? So can I do the proclamation first,
Yes,
and then
sir.
I'll have Nina? So if I could ask Jay Bronson to come up, I think he's carrying the proclamation, and Come on up, Brian.
The family can come up also if they'd like. It's not, yeah, it's just a certificate. Yeah, it's not a proclamation, so. Let the family come up and join him.
Well, let me read this. This is the National Fire Academy. Jay, you want to help me hold it? It's heavy. In recognition of successful completion of the required courses of study and applied research projects, the National Fire Academy, under the authority granted by the 116th Congress of the United States of America, on recommendation of the faculty, and confers the title of Executive Fire Officer unto David Brian Jones, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities awarded the 27th day of March 2021. And this is signed by the Administrator of the United States Fire Administration and the Superintendent of the National Fire Academy. It's heavy, it's big, and he deserves every bit of it. He's done a great job. You want to say a few words? Sure.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Rather than talking about myself, though, I do want to mention all the hard work that a lot of volunteers are doing. That's what I work with. When I became a volunteer firefighter here in Williamson County in 1999, I had 30 minutes of training on an air pack, and I was wearing hand-me-down turnout gear with holes in it when I made my first house fire. We've come a long way. I'd like to thank the mayor for his support, the public safety commissioner, our director, also the EMA director, and Chief Bonson. They've really worked hard. I was asked 5 years ago to take the chief's job at Paytonsville. That fire department was in failing status with ISO. We've turned that around. We've also consolidated with Flat Creek, Bethesda, and College Grove, and we've taken them from a Class 9 to a Class 5 for all 4 of those areas. That's not my achievement. That's our achievement. And thank you.
Excuse, would you tell us some of the requirements that you went through to get this, so that we know what you did?
This is not a sign up and you get let in thing. It's an application process. They review it. I was sitting with a lot of Metro fire chiefs. There are very few volunteer chiefs that are in this program. It's very difficult. You have to have a college degree to be accepted. You have to be an executive level fire chief to be accepted. There was a essay process. It's a 4-year program. At the end of each 2-year session that I had to attend up at the campus on Emmitsburg, I went back and completed a research project, which the shortest one I had was about 90 pages. Takes about 6 months to do. And while I'm talking about that, I do want to thank my wife and daughter. They're back there. Because not only was I gone for 2 weeks at a stretch when I went and did that, but they had to put up with me while I was trying to do all that research and put it together.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know many of you understand what he was saying. To bring a fire division down in your community from a ISO classification from 9 to 5 saves our taxpayers a lot of money. And to all of our volunteers, we say thank you for that throughout our county. And what a heck of a job they've done out there under the direction and oversight of Bill Jorgensen and Todd, and of course all of you. Just appreciate the great deal, and I appreciate your vote for the support of the money that you give all of our men and women out there. So, Mr. Chairman, if I could just carry on, and I'll ask Nina to come up and explain to you why she gave all the money to the fire squads.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mayor. In your packet this evening, I have my usual monthly reports. We have 2 months since we did not meet. The first one is the Cool Springs Conference Center for the month of February. We did have a loss of $41,564. For the month of March, also a loss of $39,257. Your monthly budget reports, we have our February and March. Nothing unusual to report, except I will point out to you on the March monthly report, in the Rural Debt Service Fund, the parentheses on the revenue portion, that does mean we have exceeded our budget at this point. A lot of that is due to the collection of the hotel motel taxes. They have come in 115% over budget at this point. For the month of March, on the privilege tax report, we have collected a little over $2 million. The month of March, we had the highest number of permits issued in the unincorporated area since we've been keeping track of that since 1989. The February privilege tax report, we collected a little over $1.1 million. The education impact fee, at this point in time, we have $45.6 million available for allocation for qualified projects. So that's my reports for this month.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make my report very quick. To you, to you that were able to be with us a couple of Saturdays ago and go through the financial exercise that Sam and Nina put together so that we can show, we were demonstrating many of the models or model that we will be looking at our juvenile center and our new justice center, the sheriff's department. Thank you for giving up your time. Also at that time, Brad Coleman was there and he gave us some assessment numbers, and late today, he could not be with us tonight, but late today he relayed the following message, and I will read this to you. Mayor, we have officially locked down the assessment rolls for 2021. Now, all of you understand that ends in 12/31/20. So they were doing a reassessment of all of the property for the last, we use a 5-year rolling number. Excuse me, a 5-year average. This will be the last year we're doing 5 years. We'll be going to 4 years. For you that would like to know the total value for all taxable property in Williamson County is $64,697,635,050. Nearly over $64.5 billion worth of taxable property. So the inevitable question you're wanting to know is what will be the average, and that is an average of overall increase for the last 5 years been 32%. So to get an average of 32%, you've got some that are higher and some that are lower. And so hopefully by the end of this month, all of the people in Williamson County will have their new assessment numbers. And I need to remind you of all this, that everything we do is revenue neutral. It's revenue neutral. But it's a huge number and huge growth over the last 5 years, what we continue to have. And I also want to remind you that since January 1st of this year, these numbers aren't depicted or on this assessment value. So some of these values that you're hearing, some of these cash offers you're hearing for property and homes, none of that'll be on the rolls since January the 1st. So I see everybody shaking their heads. So we continue to enjoy unbelievable growth in Williamson County. With that, Mr. Chairman, that's my report after Nina.
Are there any questions of the mayor? Commissioner Sturgeon.
It's not working.
Does it work now? Yeah, okay. I'm just curious, how did we go from 5 years to 4 years on the assessment cycle?
Well, there's several reasons for that. When you're having a growing community like we are, when you can capture the fourth year, or when you can capture all the assessments in a 5-year window, you're theoretically capturing 20% of the values of that property a little bit earlier. And it helps to spread out those growth numbers that we're seeing in our overall. So it's really good for the county. It's good for taxpayers to know what their values are. And there will be people that would disagree with that, and all of us understand there's a process they can go through. Brad did indicate by the end of the month also they'll have the committee set up, so people that want to appeal their processes, there's a process they go through, and those are made up of peers, just like you and me. But we'll be going to a 4-year to help capture that a little bit tighter number, and so we don't have these wide swings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Rogers. At this time, we have a report from Winston Medical Center. I'll welcome their new CEO, Phil Mazuka. I think I said that right.
First, I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for the opportunity to present a brief report tonight. I wanted to start off with a COVID report, and I've got my notes here, so if you excuse me from reading this, I don't remember all these numbers. From April 2020 to May 6, 2021, we ran over 17,000 COVID-19 tests. We saw a total of 2,844 COVID-positive patients during that time and admitted 1,076 to our inpatient units. We saw our initial peak in COVID with an average daily census of 21 in July and August in 2020. It was followed by a trough in September, and then we were in the low single digits. So everyone thought at that time we were out of the woods. There was a progressive increase in our COVID average daily census through October, November, and December of 2020 until we peaked in January of 2021 with an average daily census for COVID patients of 57. From the peak in January, there was a dramatic decline in February through the first week in March to the low single digits again. And then we again saw an increase in our COVID average daily census at the end of March and beginning of April after spring break to the mid-teens. And it was followed by a drop in May again to the low to mid-single digits. Today we have 10 COVID-positive patients in-house, of which 3 are in the ICU. It appears that vaccinations have been working, and the number of COVID-19 inpatients has been stable, averaging in the single digits. As a side note, almost all of the patients currently requiring hospitalization for COVID-19 have not been vaccinated. Our combined staff vaccination rate right now is 70%. Physicians alone are at a 95% vaccination rate. We're currently in the process of developing a new public service announcement on the importance of vaccinations. Second, I wanted to remind everybody that last week was National Nurses Week, and this week is National Hospital Week. I'd like to publicly recognize our staff for their bravery, compassion, and tireless efforts over the past year during the pandemic. They are a significant asset to our community and truly our healthcare heroes. Please let our nurses and essential team members know how much they are appreciated when you see them out in the community. Third, I wanted to let you know how proud I am of Williamson Medical Center. Our community's hospital was recognized by CMS, which is also known as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, as a 5-star hospital. We are only one of 3 hospitals in the state of Tennessee recognized as a 5-star hospital, and only one of 455 in the United States. This is a recognition and is a testament to the quality and patient focus of our highly trained and caring staff. Next, I wanted to provide an update on our March financials. You have a financial packet for March that I plan to highlight. Net operating revenues for March were strong as volumes were also strong, as we continue to see the same strength in April. Our debt coverage ratio improved to 1.91, and our days cash on hand was stable at 134.7. Days cash on hand will decline over the next 18 months as we pay back the Medicare advanced payments, which should stabilize around 100 at the end of the 18-month period. Lastly, I wanted to personally thank the Board of Commissioners for their support on opposing the proposed legislation to modify the healthcare facilities certificate of need requirements in opposition to allowing the Health Services and Development Agency to expire with the County Commissioner's resolution in December last year. The amendment has recently passed by the House and Senate, and it keeps most of the CON requirements in place. I believe this will be very beneficial to our community as Williamson Medical Center continues to provide high value to our community. The amendment still needs to be signed by the governor. Thank you again for letting me provide an update.
Do we have any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you, sir. Are there any other staff or committee that's wishing to make a report at this time? Okay, so we're moving on to elections and appointments. Disciplinary Review Board, two-year term expiring March of 2023. The nominations are Seth Obermeyer and Jasper Driscoll. We'll entertain a motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Herbert, second by Commissioner Mason. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
It is approved. Next, we have the Hospital Board of Trustees. Three-year term expiring in 5 of 2024. Term expiring Bo Butler, nomination Bo Butler. Term expiring Daniel Brown, nomination Brown Daniel, excuse me. And the term expiring Kathy McGee, nomination Kathy McGee. We'll entertain a motion. We have a motion by David Landrum, the second by Brian Bethard. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Okay. Anyone who can change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Appointment passes. At this time, if there are no objections, our rules state that we have a steering committee appoint special committees due to time restraints on the redistricting or reapportionment committee. I am requesting that we suspend that and that we meet in our paired districts to select the reapportionment redistricting committee. 20 years ago, I was not on the board then, the commission voted to have all 24 members on that committee. And that was a laborsome process. 10 years ago, we had a 6-person committee and it worked very well. So at this time, if there are no objections, I would like to take a small recess, meet in our paired districts to select one person from each paired district to represent the commission on the redistricting reapportionment committee. Let's take a 10-minute recess, try to get this accomplished, come back, and if it takes longer, we will, but take a 10-minute recess. Just kind of meet in small groups. soon as Diane gets back up here, we will, we will resume. That'd be a good time to do that.
Little rusty.
Give it a second.
Okay, is it blinking?
It is blinking.
Okay. You are on.
Okay. The mayor asked me to just go through a few things. Obviously, we have to do this every 10 years. The first step is what you've just taken. We have to create the redistricting committee. And once we get the Census Bureau numbers, it'll come down to the committee. And the committee evaluates those figures on the current voting districts, determine whether they meet the apportionment requirements. Obviously, with the growth in our county, that's not going to be an issue. We will have to redistrict. The district is then redrawn based on the consensus data. This is done through a state-run GIS program. The committee really doesn't have a whole lot to do with this process at this time. They crunch all the numbers. We tell them what we want to see, or the committee tells them what they want to see, and they kick out different maps. The committee will go through those maps, and obviously any commissioner, it's an open meeting, so if you wanted to be there, you can. Once you have chosen a plan, it comes back to the county commission. The county commission approves it, and then it's been sent to the state, to the comptroller's office. That's basically it. If you got questions, be glad to answer them.
The sense of urgency is that normally we start this process in January or February, and we have to have it in
January 1st.
by January 1st. This year, we still don't have all of the data. We won't have it, maybe not till October, to have all the data. So we're going to have a very short time period to do this. We did it in-house 10 years ago, and if my memory serves me correctly, we were congratulated by the state as having one of the best plans in the state, if not the best. And we did it in-house. Our goal is to do the same thing this year. So at this time, we will go through the paired districts and let your spokesperson say who has been selected. Are you ready? Districts 1 and 2.
Judy Herbert.
Districts 3 and 4.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Districts 5 and 6. Districts 7 and 8. Districts 9 and 10. Districts 11, 12. All right. Diane, would you please read back the committee?
Yes, sir. We have Commissioners Herbert, Lawrence, Webb, Sturgeon, Morton, and ILO.
We will entertain a motion for approval. Do we need to record this? We got it. We got to give her a sec. She wasn't ready for this one. I didn't tell her. We have a motion by Paul Webb. We have a second by Commissioner Lothers. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor of the committee, press the yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
19 yes, 1 no.
All right, the committee is approved. Now moving on with our agenda, next we have zoning. We have a public hearing. Public hearing regarding Resolution 5-21-3, resolution to amend Article 21 of the consent. I skipped the consent agenda. I'm getting good at that. We're out of practice. At this time, we have the consent agenda next. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, the second by Aaron Nations. Any discussion, or we don't really discuss the consent agenda? If you're in favor of the consent agenda, press your yes button, opposed your no. I do need to note that in resolution, I forgot this, Resolution 5-21-1 has a typo in it. Located off Clovercroft Road should be located off Nolensville Road, and that is a typo that we can correct. Does not require an amendment, but I need to call it to your attention. Okay. If there's nothing else, I assume we're ready to go with the, ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes, opposed your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Consent agenda passes. Now we're ready for our public hearing. We're back in person, and it seems like I didn't have this much trouble when we were doing it remote. I don't know. Back in person, everything changes. But, public hearing regarding Resolution 5-21-3, resolution to amend Article 21 of the Williamson County Zoning Ordinance regarding non-conforming uses. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Going once? Going twice? Public hearing is closed. Resolution 5-21-3, resolution to amend Article 21 of the Williamson County Zoning Ordinance regarding non-conforming use. Commissioner Lathers?
Move for approval.
The second by Commissioner Mason. Explanation, let's see. We have a Planning Commission vote was 11-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is an amendment to Article 21 of the Williamson County Zoning Ordinance and allowing the Board of Zoning Appeals to approve a change of use from a non-conforming industrial use to a commercial use that is listed as a permitted use in the Hamlet zoning district. And I wondered if anybody has any more detailed questions. We also have planning staff and Christy available. I think Mike is here and also Christy. Thanks.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Williams? Give us a second.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm just curious if we could just get a little more discussion and clarification on this, as I've got several hamlets in the 9th District.
It's good to see you again. So Commissioner Williams, so a non-conforming use is a use that was legally established, but which no longer meets the requirements of the zoning district. We've got a number of those scattered throughout the county. Most of those are commercial uses. They can continue operating indefinitely, and the zoning ordinance has, for many years, allowed those non-conforming commercial uses to change from one type of a commercial use to another type of commercial use, as long as the new use is allowed in the Hamlet zoning district. And it specifies Hamlet district because that allows a more restrictive set of commercial uses. They're typically smaller and more benign in that zoning district. So what this is about really is that where the zoning ordinance says that commercial uses can do that, I think the intention was any non-residential use. But because it says commercial specifically, and just to be clear, we wanted to make sure we're putting industrial uses in that same classification, because the thinking is that it would be better for a non-conforming industrial use to change to a lesser intense, more benign commercial use than to require it to continue operating as a industrial use, which can have larger impacts on the community. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Next, we have a public hearing. Public hearing regarding Resolution 5-21-4. Resolution to amend Article 10 of the Williamson County zoning ordinance regarding setbacks in neighborhood conservation zoning district. At this time, the public hearing is open. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this Article 10? Going once? Going twice? Public hearing is closed. Regarding Resolution 5-21-4, resolution to amend Article 10 of the Williamson County zoning ordinance regarding setbacks of neighborhood conservation NC zoning districts. Commissioner Lothers, the motion. The second by Commissioner Nations. The Planning Commission was 11-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Yes, this section 10 of the zoning ordinance provides dimensional standards. This is going to sound very technical, but because of the prior question, I'll read a few of the staff notes. The zoning ordinance provides dimensional standards, including building setback requirements in the neighborhood conservation zoning district, which is applied to many older subdivisions. Many of these older subdivisions were platted at a time when it was commonplace to not show building setbacks. Therefore, the neighborhood conservation district uses a contextual standard for determining setbacks and other dimensional standards in cases where such information is not included on the plat. Specifically, this section refers to the smallest setbacks of existing lots within the block face. While this standard has some merit from a contextual standpoint, there have been many cases where the smallest setback in the block face has far exceeded any reasonable setback standard, resulting in the inability of property owners to add on to their homes or build accessory structures or swimming pools. This amendment would provide more flexibility in determining setback standards when such standards are not shown on the plat. And specifically, the amendment notes that such setbacks shall be of the lesser of the smallest setbacks within the subdivision or the required minimum setbacks for traditional setback subdivisions in the Rural Development 1 RD1 zoning district. And then we have staff here for more. Jim, thanks.
Are there any questions? Okay, give me just a second. Let's see if.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Good evening, Mike. This is a question that's come up a lot, and it's affected a lot of people out in the unincorporated areas when they want to add on to their house. So what effectively exactly does this mean for them if they're trying to add a swimming pool or add a room on their house and they've been told no so many times? So what exactly does that impact does it have now?
Well, if they're zoned neighborhood conservation, and if the reason they were told no is because of the way the zoning ordinance is currently written, then this will give them more flexibility and a greater opportunity to do those additions or build those swimming pools. Sometimes we see these cases go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and request variances, and they're not always granted, because of the tests for variances that the BZA is obligated to meet. And so this will help those people to do those kind of projects.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Commissioner Story?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I had heard from a number of people who would like to do something, were declined, and then wound up building somewhere else. This is actually sounds like a tool that provides someone who is looking at existing structures, but before couldn't build that outbuilding or that swimming pool. This allows them to use existing structures as opposed to going out in the county and trying to find new and building new. So that's what it may not be the only reason. It's probably not the only reason. I just know I've heard from several constituents who have tried to purchase existing land, expand it, and were denied, and thus built new because of it. So this is it helps conserve what we've got, and the intentions of what we've passed our zoning, upzonings last year. So I'm fully in favor with this.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Commissioner Williams, it's not. There we go. Anyone who wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Next, we have our last public hearing. Public hearing regarding Resolution 5-21-5. Resolution to amend Articles 2, 19, and 23 of the Williamson County Zoning Ordinance regarding flood hazard regulations. This time, the public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to speak to this, come forward. Going once, going twice. Public hearing is closed. Resolution 5-21-5, a resolution to amend Articles 2, 19, and 23 of the Winston County Zoning Ordinance regarding flood hazard regulations. Commissioner Lathers, the motion. Commissioner Story, the second. Regional Planning Commission was 11-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This amendment to the Articles 2, 19, and 23 of the Williamson County Zoning Ordinance incorporate changes to the State of Tennessee Model Floodplain Ordinance requested by the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, related to floodplain variance procedures and other amendments as required for continued participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. And as you can tell, there's a lot of aspects to this. I'm not sure if we have planning staff, attorney, or even our engineer that can explain this.
Well, that sounded pretty good. Are there any questions? All right, come ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. On January 11th, the County Commission adopted revisions to the floodplain management regulations now located in Article 13. Subsequent to their adoption, the county was notified by FEMA that additional information was required concerning the variance process in order to comply with the National Flood Insurance Program. So as a result of that, the county is proposing additional language and clarifying criteria the Board of Zoning Appeals would use in considering any variances to Article 19. Staff recommends approval of this, and we have with us here tonight the Planning Department Attorney, Christie, who would answer. She wrote this, and she will be able to answer any questions for you.
Are there any questions? Thank you. Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Two things before we move on with the agenda. One, please remember to use your request to speak. That's what I'm looking at here. And Diane, to see if someone is wishing to speak. So please use your request to speak button. And number two, before we proceed with these items, during the pandemic, I started reading all of the committee votes because it was hard when you're meeting remote. We are now back in person. For expedience sake, I can continue to read those, but if the chairman wants to do it, y'all need to let me know. If the chairman, do you want to do your own committee reports, or do you want me to just read them?
You go for it, John.
All right, it moves a little faster, so I just wanted to get your permission before I just automatically started doing it, so. So, okay. Resolution 5-21-6. Resolution appropriating $2,325,328 transferred from the School Federal Project Fund to the General Purpose School Fund for ESSER Grant 2.0. Commissioner Tunnicliffe, the motion. Press the motion.
I don't have a motion button, I'm sorry. I don't have a motion button on my phone. Someone else did it for me, thank you. So moved.
Second, Commissioner Rainey. Explanation, let's see, School Board was 11-4, 0 against. Education Committee was 5-4, 0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4, 0 against as amended. So at this time, I guess we need to entertain a motion for the amendment.
Mr. Chair, the Budget Committee recommended that we add the amount of $646,253 as a fund balance expense. So recommend that, make the motion for that amendment.
Is there a second? Commissioner Herbert the second, and this gives it a 0,
Yes.
makes it come to 0 balances. Are there any discussions on the amendment? All right, seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Commissioner Chalfant, there we go. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please. The amendment.
20 yes, 0 no.
The amendment passes. Now we're back to the resolution. The explanation, please, sir. Mr. Tunnicliffe, explanation.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to, I've studied this today twice, and I'm still going to request that Superintendent Golden address this for me. I don't want to make a boo-boo on this, because I know there's some questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the funding plan for moving line items for the ESSER 2.0 federal funds. We have received the funds. We had submitted our plan to the state. They approved it. We ran it through our board. The gist of it is the 1.5 million or so is covering one of the annual payments for the Chromebooks with federal funds rather than county funds. The 600 and some odd $1,000 in fund balance are items that we were able to use federal funds for to cover expenses the commission previously approved in this current year's budget. Those funds end up in fund balance because we were able to use federal funds as they came in to cover some of the items that our board approved and you approved funding for this year. So this is moving the money from place to place to cover those federal funds we received as a result of COVID.
Are there any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-11. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Health Department budget by $1,516, revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Nations, the second. The Public Health Committee didn't meet. Budget Committee was 4-4, 0 against. Explanation, please.
As you can see, this $1,516 is a grant targeting primary prevention, including substance abuse and misuse, suicide prevention, and reducing chronic conditions. And I believe Ms. Montgomery is already gone for the night.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-12, resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 solid waste sanitation budget by $400,000, revenues to come from unappropriated solid waste sanitation fund balance. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Herbert, the second. Municipal Solid Waste Board was 3-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
There's a lot of Class 3 waste due to the pandemic primarily, and we've had above average rainfall so far, and so this caused the leachate's got to be pumped out. And the amount of Class 1 waste also has increased, and so you've had some unanticipated equipment expense, and so that's what this $400,000 will be used for. Ms. Zion is in the audience if anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions? I'll make a comment. The number that she gave of their increases in volume at the Budget Committee was absolutely astounding. So, if seeing no questions, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-13. Resolution amending the 2020-21 Highway Department budget and appropriating up to $72,154 for personal needs during severe inclement weather event. Revenues to come from unappropriated highway fund balance. Personnel needs, excuse me. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Tunnicliffe, the second. Highway Commission was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
We had a severe ice storm here back in February, and this is extra money to pay for overtime and other costs there. And Mr. Hood is in the audience.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-14. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 library budget by $2,010.85. Revenues to come from donations, contributions, and fines. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Mason, the second. Library Board was 8-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
These are donations and library funds that have been collected that were not in the budget, and you can see they're being expended primarily for materials. The library director is in the audience.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-15. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Election Commission budget by $223,000. Revenues to come from county general fund balance. Commissioner Webb, Commissioner Rainey, the motion. Commissioner Tunnicliffe, the second. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
These are expenses related to elections in the cities of Franklin, Nolensville, and Brentwood. And Mr. Gray is in the audience if anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My only question.
Got him on. Now go.
Okay. My question would be, have any of these funds been reimbursed? Are we expecting reimbursement on what portion of the total of these funds?
There we go.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Chad Gray, Administrator of Elections. In retrospect, members, I think we probably should have handled this in two different ways. We have expenses that are incidental to conducting our municipal elections for our municipalities. And we have gotten in part reimbursement from several of those municipalities, but the cities of Brentwood and Franklin have elections this year that we have expenses for. Now, part of this money actually that we expended last fall had to do with COVID-19 mitigation. And the reimbursement from the state, I found out today, will be received this month in the amount of just over $200,000. So does that answer your question, Commissioner Smith?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Will some of those federal dollars be applicable to this 223,000, or?
Right.
Are there any additional reimbursements coming from the municipalities on this 223,000?
Right. We will be getting reimbursement from the city of Brentwood, but probably before the 1st of June, I would suspect. But normally, this body has approved a supplemental budget for us in the fall when we have a November election, and that did not occur last fall, so for various reasons. So because we had so many expenses during the COVID-19 mitigation and the tremendous voter turnout for the November election.
I think the essence of the question is, are any county funds being used on city elections?
No, that the cities reimburse the county entirely for any expenses related to holding those elections.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was my understanding.
Okay.
My assumption, but I wanted to clarify it, and you took care of it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-16. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 property assessor's budget by $37,000 for funding related to reappraisal expenses, revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. The motion, Commissioner Webb. The second, Commissioner Tunnicliff. Budget Committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is cost related to the reappraisal. The mayor talked about that earlier, and so these are items that were not budgeted within the current fiscal year. I don't believe Mr. Coleman is here, but the mayor or Ms. Graham, I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Commissioner Sturgeon. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-17. Resolution appropriating and amending the various county general budgets by $1,971,945.22 and the solid waste fund by $4,004.78. Proceeds to come from Tennessee CARES Act Management Systems Coronavirus Relief Fund. Motion, Commissioner Webb. The second, Commissioner Herbert. Budget Committee is 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
I think this is self-explanatory. These are coronavirus relief funds, and this is how they have been allocated. Ms. Graham can explain if anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-18. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 animal control budget by $3,100. Revenues to come from Subaru Lovers Pet Program funds. Motion, Commissioner Webb. Second, Commissioner Morton. Public Health did not meet Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
As you know, Subaru collects funds when they sell a car, and they donate that to programs around the nation. And we are fortunate enough to receive this donation. Animal Control Director Johnson is in the audience if anyone has any questions.
And as the mayor said, they've got the best commercial going right now.
Yeah, they're driving my car. My dog's driving our Subaru, too.
Are there any questions? Yes, Commissioner Lathers.
You hear me? I just wanted to note that our dedicated animal control director has a little kitty, a little baby in the audience that she's caring for tonight. This is how dedicated she is. And we might say that the baby's name is Cheryl Crow, right? Thank you for all that you do.
Any other questions or statements? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-19. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 excess risk insurance in the County General Fund totaling $1,119,105.27. Revenues to come from insurance recoveries and unappropriated county general fund balance. The motion, Commissioner Webb. The second, Commissioner Nations. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
I think this is pretty self-explanatory on the insurance. We've got the insurance recoveries. We're going to use that to pay some of the cost and premiums we have, especially extra workers' comp and equipment claims. And do we have someone? Yeah. Wayne is here. Somebody has questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Commissioner Williams. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-20. Resolution accepting a donation from the DUI Court Foundation of Williamson County Incorporated and appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Williamson County General Sessions Court budget by $25,000, revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Nations, the second. Law Enforcement and Public Safety was 5-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please, Commissioner Webb.
This is a donation by computers for the court system, and from what I get, Judge Guffey had to leave, so what I'm understanding, this is no strings attached.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-21. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2020-21 Sheriff's Office budget by $1,425. Revenues to come from Sexual Offenders Registry Reserve. Motion, Commissioner Webb. The second, Commissioner Herbert. Law Enforcement and Public Safety Committee was 5-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Offenders are supposed to pay $100 annually to this fund, and then the Sheriff's Office can use this for some of their expenses, such as for equipment and implementation of this registry. I believe the sheriff is here if anyone has a question.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-7. Resolution to override the City of Spring Hill Board of Mayor and Aldermen's vote against rezoning a 23-acre portion of 1724 Wilkes Lane. The motion, Commissioner Tunnicliff, the second, Commissioner Smith. The school board was 12-4-0 against. Education committee was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Yes, sir, Chairman. Is that on? All right, thank you. Obviously, we've talked about this quite a bit tonight. This is about making sure that we are able to rezone the land at Wilkes Lane for the school system.
Motion to table.
And, I thought we had to wait for that, all right. And I would like to make a motion, an amendment or a motion on this to table this.
Motion to table. Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Mason. This is not debatable, so get the vote up. All right. Okay. If you're ready to vote, the motion to table, press your yes button, opposed your no. Commissioner Landrum? Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
The resolution is tabled. Can be brought back off the table by any member of the prevailing side if need be at a later time. Resolution 5-21-9, resolution accepting the donation of computer packages from the Tennessee Administrative Office of the Court. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Nations, the second. Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee was 5-4-0 against. Property Committee was 6-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is another donation from the Administrative Office of the Courts, and we've been chosen to receive these computer packages. You'll see there in the third whereas, the inventory. And again, no strings are attached.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-22. Resolution setting the Williamson County Hotel Motel tax rate for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Motion, Commissioner Webb. Second, Commissioner Lothers. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
We have to set the tax rate for each fiscal year, and this is the same as it has been for quite a few years at 4%.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-23. Resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds collected from the 0.5% increase in the local option sales and use tax and amending 2020-21 budget. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Herbert, the second. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
In essence, what this does is we grant authority and we authorize the county budget director, Mrs. Graham, to do everything necessary to transfer, amend, and expend the revenue collected from the increased sales and use tax, which we approved in accordance with the interlocal agreements, which we're all here to recall those. And so this gives her the authority to move those funds, and she can explain if anyone has any questions.
As a note, I'll throw in there, we collected $72.4 million from the schools and the cities, which was $12 million more than was expected.
Yes.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-24. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a contract with Bethesda Road LLC for the reimbursement of construction costs to expand a wastewater treatment plant. Motion, Commissioner Webb, second, Commissioner Morton. Property Committee was 4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, we have a Parks and Rec Department, and we need wastewater treatment in our Bethesda Road complex. And this developer, Mr. Carbine, has agreed to work with us on this property for treatment of the wastewater. Parks and Rec Director Hampton is in the audience if anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-25. Resolution amending the Occupational Safe and Health Plan adopted by the Williamson County Board of Commissioners in May of 2020. The motion, Commissioner Webb, the second by Commissioner Smith. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is updating our rules on the Occupational Safety and Health Plan. And I'm not sure if we got somebody here that can discuss if there's any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-26. Resolution withdrawing recognition of the Nolensville Volunteer Fire Department as the organization to provide fire protection and prevention services for the geographical area covered by Station 16. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Lathers, the second. Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee was 5-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
As you may know, the town of Nolensville has created their own fire department, and thus the county has an agreement that the town of Nolensville will take over the area that was covered by the volunteer department, and that we have negotiated agreements for the property. And our attorney, sorry, first time I've hit that. Our attorney can answer any questions regarding the agreement, and we have people from public safety here that can answer any other details about coverage.
Commissioner Lathers?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to mention that, you hear me? Thanks. Chairman Little and I are from District 5, and this is obviously within our district, so we have been updated about this request on behalf of the town of Nolensville. Thanks. Lisa.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-27. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a lease agreement with the town of Nolensville. Commissioner Webb, the motion. Commissioner Lathers, the second. Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee was 5-0 against. Property Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Mr. Chair, this is the follow-up on that. This is the lease agreement I alluded to of the prior resolution. And again, any details, the attorney can answer the specifics on the agreement.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-28. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the town of Nolensville for the provision of fire and emergency services. The motion, Commissioner Webb. The second, Commissioner Lathers. Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee was 5-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This resolution authorizes Mayor Anderson to enter an agreement with the town of Nolensville for the provision of the fire and emergency services that was formerly served by the Nolensville Volunteer Fire Department, and that everyone has agreed to that. So this is the package that we were talking about, where the town of Nolensville will take over what was the Nolensville Volunteer Fire Department service area.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-29. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant agreement with the state of Tennessee for pass-through federal funding to subsidize emergency management for the fiscal year 2021-22. The motion, Commissioner Webb. The second, Commissioner Smith. Law Enforcement and Public Safety Committee was 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee was 4-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
This is a pass-through of federal funding through the state of Tennessee, Department of the Military, and the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency for this amount to go to our agency to provide services for Williamson County. And Director Horton is here if anyone has any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-31. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a limited license agreement with the City of Brentwood, Tennessee for the use of Kawasaki Mules Pro DX ESPs. The motion, Commissioner Story. The second, Commissioner Webb. Property Committee was 6-4-0 against. Law Enforcement and Public Safety was 5-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
There we go. So this is for a mutual use for a couple of ATVs for emergency use of this for emergency use for these Kawasaki mules in the case it's ever needed.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Mr. Lawrence. Anyone wishing to change your vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, please.
20 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 5-21-32. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a conservation easement with the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation concerning Williamson County-owned real property located on State Route 96 and North Chapel Road. The motion, Commissioner Story. The second, Commissioner Smith. Property Committee was 6-4-0 against. Explanation, please.
Yes, during the TDOT expansion of Highway 96, they've identified that there's a need for irrigate or for runoff mitigation, and so this is to allow that coordination.
Let me check. Are there any questions? Sorry. Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no. Anyone wish to change your vote, do so at this time. Resolution passes. Record the vote, please. I'm thinking ahead.
20 yes, 0 no.
Now the resolution passes. I think that includes our agenda. I was asking about who upstairs that does the zoning, our reapportionment. Everybody had Perry. Yeah. All right. As we get into the reapportionment, redistricting, upstairs, Perry's office, they had a lot of one-on-one meetings with commissioners to discuss the lines. Due to time constraints, I don't know how much of that is going to be possible. And so one of the reasons for the committee is for if you have concerns about the lines, to express it through your representative from your district on that committee. And it kind of will hold down on traffic going through upstairs and maybe expedite the process. So as we move forward in this, we will get more publication out. Everyone will be notified of the meetings, and all of our meetings are open, so you're welcome to come to them. So, is there anything else for the good of the order here? Commissioner Williams.
Is it, all right, and Mayor Anderson, I'm not sure if this is a question for you. I wish I'd asked this at the beginning of the meeting, but I know there's been a survey that's been posted at the convenience centers for flood damage, reporting that type of deal. Is it possible at the next commission meeting to maybe have a report out on the extensive, the damage that may occur across the recent floods, potentially different things that the county's been doing, and potentially what that survey has maybe revealed to assist in guiding the county in the response?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the question is, I'll try to get together a report for you. But quite a bit of the work, particularly up in your area, the 9th District, Stable Road, all down in there, a lot of flooding did occur, and through the efforts of Nancy Zahn and actually the city of Franklin, as you know, we've got a highway department, not a public works department, and so they went out there. We rented a boom truck to pick up the debris and put it in the containers and then take them out to the landfill. Chairman Little was referring to the enormous amount of Class 3 that's going in our landfill. It is in the neighborhood of almost 50% what we're seeing. So we're trying to address that behind the scenes, how we can deal with that over the next 6 months to a year, because the last thing any of us wants is for our landfill to run out in a quicker fashion, and the rate we're going, we would have to deal with that. And I just don't have any earthly idea how we would deal with solid waste issues. But we will get you a report. Do what? But can you answer some of these questions, Todd? But the reports you're asking for, we'll try to get that, but Todd has directed a lot of these things too. Todd? I mean, while he's coming up here, if you'll put on your calendar to Memorial Day, we're having our services at 5 Points again this year. So if you're a veteran or if you'd like to come down, it is open to the public this year.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. As you're aware, the storms that moved through our area on March 27th and 28th created a lot of flooding throughout our community in various portions. The Grassland community was one area that was hit pretty hard from that. Part of our efforts with solid waste is to be sure that we document the amount of debris that's being taken in case federal reimbursement became available to reimburse us for the expenses for that debris. This morning early, I received an email with confirmation that the President did approve our declaration request made by the Governor on behalf of Williamson County. And that means that individuals and households that were impacted by the flood are now eligible to apply for individual assistance through FEMA, as well as public assistance was declared, which meaning the government, the county government, as well as the city, local governments are able now to receive reimbursement for up to 75% of expenses for emergency work and for permanent work that we experienced and are still experiencing from this flood. And finally, it provides mitigation funding available to all counties in the state of Tennessee to be able to help provide some mitigation efforts to reduce future damages as a result of not only flooding events, but other types of disasters that can affect our community. So these damage assessments that we've been collecting, to answer your question specifically, were to understand the impact that the disaster had in our community, to help us identify locations that we could go out and do specific damage assessments, which attributed to a joint preliminary damage assessment with FEMA that helped to determine that we were eligible and met the criteria for this federal reimbursement. And so we have begun our campaign today to make everyone aware that this assistance is now available. We started by direct calling and emailing everyone who submitted a damage assessment report, so they know specifically that because they reported that they were affected, that they are eligible for assistance, as well as we're publishing that through our social media and through our website applications, along with our assistance of our cities and town partners as well. I'm happy to answer any more questions that you would have.
That's excellent. Thank you. That's very informative. I'm curious, what kind of response did you get on the survey and notifications? Is there any general numbers?
So we had approximately 377 reports of damage. Some of those homes reported multiple reports, so it may be that one resident suffered 5 different types of reports that they reported. I can certainly provide a breakdown to you at the next meeting that itemizes the types of damage that we're experiencing. As far as the declaration was concerned, it only looks at residential and commercial structures. It doesn't look at property. It does look at contents. It doesn't look at vehicles and things of that nature, so it's only focused with the structure. And for FEMA assistance, it's not ever intended to make a person whole for their losses, but it does try to help offset the losses that they suffered.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, Barbara.
If someone has not made a report with you so far, are they still eligible? Can they file a report anyway?
Absolutely, and they don't have to file with us at this point. They can file directly through the application process for individual assistance, which again, you can find that on our website at williamsonready.org. There's a link that you'll be able to get to that application process.
Are there any other questions?
Tommy, do you still want me to get a report, or is his to do it?
No, actually, I think that was what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
So I'm sorry I didn't call him up in the beginning. 10 o'clock is Memorial Day service. Sheriff just asked me that, and so I did not announce that. So 10 o'clock is a Memorial Day service. Be through by 11.
Are there any other questions or comments? We'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.
Sorry for holding everybody.